Jimmy, you made a good point about the U.S. learning to not lose and staying in these games, right? And there is a huge value in that. Do you think there's an overly large expectation we're putting on this team to have to win these games? Now we're talking about San Pedro Sula. I just look at this squad, and regardless of who you put on, with the current roster that they have, injuries and everything, no problem. You're telling me we are ranked, 10 in the world right now, where we have players playing at Champions League clubs that are in the double digits. I think it's like 10, 11, 12 players playing at Champions League clubs in the group stages. We can't win or mix talent with hard work and get a win in San Pedro Sula. I don't know if my mind is just embracing CONCACAF way too much, because you and I know the chaos and how hard it is. But like, I also go back to this rooted thing of like, but why can't we just win in Honduras?
So I think we have set up some expectations here where we won the Nations League final. We won the Gold Cup with a whole completely different team. And that maybe put a different target on our back, to your point earlier, that now teams are like, all right, these guys have a little something. They're showing that famous American spirit that they're going to fight and give you everything that they have. And now we had time to kind of sit on that. And now teams can prepare for us, starting with El Salvador. They had time to unlock us, to see where we did give up plenty of chances during both competitions. And we were just probably fortunate. And maybe the balance of the soccer gods are coming back and saying, hey, this isn't going to go as swimmingly as it went the time before. And Tyler Adams came out after the game and basically said, we're just a group of names on paper. Like, we still have to go out there and play. And this is a point I made before. It doesn't matter what you did before. Nations League final, Gold Cup, great. Cool. Beat Mexico twice. Awesome. Cool. Play for the Champions League. Great. What you're going to do in the future? Amazing. Good job with that. What are you going to do right now? When the whistle blows, what are you going to do? And I think that's what I learned through my time with the national team. It doesn't matter if you played in Europe. It doesn't matter if you are a youth national team star that's gone all the way up through the 15s, 17s, 20s. Now you're with the full team. It doesn't matter. Are you ready right now? Are you ready when the whistle blows? I don't care if you play in the Premier League. I don't care where you play. You have to show up and play right now. And I feel like we don't have enough of those guys that have clicked on, and we got to show up now and fight. Now, you made a point way back in the Gold Cup coverage, so I'll shout out to all the Qué Golazo listeners that were part of that journey with us for the Gold Cup, where we need we need enough guys. They don't have to be 10s every game, but we need a lot of guys to be 7s and 8s, right? And they have to play that performance. And I think if we look at the last two games, we don't have enough guys at 7 and 8s. Man, we don't have anybody at 10, but we don't have any like enough guys at 7 and 8s that's going to help kind of tip the result in our favor. And I think we did in both of those competitions. We had enough 7 and 8s throughout the field. And you don't need all 11. You just need 6 or 7 guys that are just feeling it and can drag everybody else along. And right now, we're either shutting off at the wrong time, guys aren't locked in, they're getting frustrated. And Alex, actually, I want to mention the pattern play that you mentioned. I get the sense that Gregg has given them ideas to how to unlock defenses. It'd be really weird if he hadn't at this point. When Christian Pulisic comes out after the game and says, we need new ideas, for me, that's a shot at Berhalter, honestly, because I think Gregg is giving them that. They're trying to do the things that Gregg wants them to do, and it's not working. And they're continuing to try what Gregg wants them to do, and it's not working. And at some point, you have to just, hey, I can only do so much from the sideline. I can only prep you in so many ways. You have to take what the game's giving you. And I don't think we're doing a good enough job of that. And where I think Honduras in particular are a little bit vulnerable are on crosses from out wide and also on set pieces. You can get at them. That's where we can have success. That's how we scored against them in the Nations League semifinal when Pifo got a header at the end of the game. We have to take that then. These are their vulnerabilities. Let's exploit those vulnerabilities. Instead, I feel like we want to score the pretty goal all the time. And that holds us back because that's not going to get you success in CONCACAF. And even when we try to play that way, it's still not aesthetically pleasing because we can never establish a rhythm because the other team is doing so well of sitting so many people behind the ball.
Yeah. Jimmy, I want to get your take on this. Is it surprising to you, given the lack of World Cup qualifying experience, that the team is struggling? Because for me, I'm not surprised that they're struggling because you struggle in CONCACAF. There is no way. Mexico have just, by chance, they're on 6 points. But they've struggled in their own ways, right? And what we expect from Mexico and the players that they have and the quality
Dude,
that
their fans want their coach out. They've won the first 2 games. I mean, you tell me how they're playing.
And so, for me, that struggle is not surprising. It's surprising that we're talking about having new ideas in the attack. And whenever we go down this route, I go back to moments in the game and I'm thinking like, man, when I watch Gio Reyna play at Dortmund and he's connected to, okay, it's Holland, but when he's connected, he's playing off the shoulder, 1-2 tight passes, pulling defenders in and out of spaces, darting little diagonal runs that open up space with Royce. And I'm not saying that we have those players up top because Josh Sargent isn't Holland, but there are still just fundamental patterns of play and build up situations and game-like things. The game is fluid, right? And you and I have played against a team that high press you for 5 minutes and all of a sudden they're sitting on top of their box. And you have to have the IQ. And the one thing that I know these players have more than our generation is that IQ of playing against different types of players, playing in different types of systems, playing at a higher pace, having better ability to break down teams because the game is constantly changing. Now the game is faster and all these other things that you could talk about. So why are we struggling so much to even get into good spots to take those chances? Because we get up there and it's like, Serginho Dest in the game. He does a spectacular moment, and then the ball comes back to him a second later, and he kicks it back to the defensive line, and he's up on top of the box. And I'm like, that's not how we need to be playing right now. We've got them up against the ropes. Go at them again. Go at them again. Go at them again until they're uncomfortable. Let's go at them. But instead, we went back to this rhythmic system where, again, in Barcelona, keep the ball. We're going to wear you down a different way. But in that moment, it was an indicator to me that Serginho Dest didn't understand the time and place, that we've got them a little bit nervous. And instead of one of our best players on the ball,
off the hook.
Yeah, you let them off the hook, and now you got to start all over again. And so, just want to I want to get you.
There's two things I'll jump in here and say. One is I think you're talking about risk and using that IQ to take smart risks in some ways, right? Take the advantages when they're given to you. Now I'm talking about, more often than not, if there's space out wide, take that wide space and whip it in. And doesn't matter if you hit your target or not. There's still so many opportunities that can come from a deflection. We almost had a couple of own goals against Canada because we hit some hopeful balls into the box. Yeah, it's not always pretty. And sure, we're not combining and doing 17 passes to score or whatever it may be, but they were still dangerous. And you could sense after those moments, Canada was like, oh shit, like this, we're getting close on scoring our own goal. And we actually didn't even talk about that after the game, but those are the crosses that I'm talking about. You start putting them in dangerous areas. And if they don't clear them in good spots, we get corner kicks, which we're good on set pieces. We can win the second balls if they do clear them out to the top of the box. But if we all have to be on the same page, like this is what's going to happen. Because when everybody's on the same page, you get out of reactive mode and you get into anticipatory mode. And you're thinking about, if this ball breaks here, I'm going to be here. And you know what? Brooks is behind me. He got me covered, because we all know we're thinking about how we're going to try to win this second ball in a meaningful way. So there's that part of it, taking those educated guesses and taking risk. And maybe we're not seeing that enough from our number 9. Were we offside once against Canada? Do we actually? I don't remember being offside once against Canada, and we have to look back at that. But that just shows you that we're not taking any kind of trying to get in behind, even if there's really no space. Are we doing something to move those center backs around? Are we trying to make those darting runs that you're talking about from Erling Haaland or what these guys see over in different leagues? So that's one. The second thing that you mentioned that stuck with me. Yes, these guys are more talented. They're most likely smarter than we were as players. They have shown through the summer that they have that grit that I think we're talking about, that is necessary to be successful at anything. I wonder, and this might be the old man yelling at the get off my lawn or whatever, the has-been player that's yelling at the next generation. I wonder sometimes about entitlement. And I see it with some of the younger players that I coach here in my area at the 4th division with the USL League 2 San Francisco Glens, where they just think they're owed something. And dude, I don't care if you won the Nations League. I don't care if you won the Gold Cup. Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you anything. And you have to go out there and fight for that respect every single play, every single game. That's how it works. And I wonder if we maybe bought into our own hype a little bit because everything went so well for us that, hey, now that we're merging these two teams from the Nations League and the Gold Cup, we're going to be a super US team and everything's going to be golden, And so I don't know. I don't get that sense, but I do see that from this generation, there is a bit of entitlement and that people owe us something and nobody owes you anything.